Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today we're going to be taking a look at a dual kit, and in particular, this time, the Dreadlord or Sorceress on Black Dragon kit. What we aim to do is we aim to talk about both variations of this kit that can be built and give you an idea on what both parts can give to your armies in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. We'll be going through this series with a ton of the dual kits that come out for a bunch of different armies, though we won't be looking at dual kits that apply to two different factions. But let's get cracking into this. This is the Dreadlord or Sorceress on Black Dragon kit. So to start with, we're going to look at the Dreadlord on Black Dragon. The Dreadlord on Black Dragon is, I guess, the combat variation of this kit, the other one being the Sorceress, and she's a much more magical model, but we'll get into her in a sec. The Dreadlord on Black Dragon is armed with a single type of combat weapon. He can either have an Exile Blade or a Lance of Spite, and he can choose to either have a repeated crossbow with that, or he can also have a dual Exile Blade, so have two swords if he wishes. Depending on what he's got, if he's got a single Exile Blade or the Lance, he can also have a shield. These all give him a bunch of different abilities. The shield, probably one of the most significant. The Tyrant Shield will give him +1 to his save, so this means he's going to be a 3-up save, 14 wound monster, which is pretty decent for 300 points, which he comes in at. He's got some pretty decent damage, and depending on what you do and depending on what sort of sub-faction you play within Cities of Sigmar, you can get quite a few nice buffs on his offense to really make him good. There's particular things you can do where he can start proccing mortal wounds on some hits, so then maybe it's worth going the dual Exile Blade build, or potentially even just a single Exile Blade, as he gets 6 attacks with the weapon. If he does have the dual Exile Blades, he's going to get to reroll all his hit rolls. The Lance of Spite is an interesting one. It does have less attacks, but it has a better quality of attacks, being 3s and 3s to both hit and wound, and it gets -1 rend and 1 damage. However, this is bumped up to -2 rend and 2 damage if the model makes a charge. With his decent move of 14, when he's undamaged, he can do what he wants really with fly in there as well. The dragon itself is really quite awesome. While the dragon only has a 4+ to hit on its jaws, the damage never drops from that big D6, and it always has a rend of 2. His other razor sharp claw attacks, which he has 6 of when undamaged, also only hit on a 4, but once again they always stay at a nice damage of 2. This means this model can put out a decent amount of damage. Even with the 4s to hit, he's going to get through 1 or 2 of these hits, meaning he's probably going to put out at least 10 wounds a turn. He can fight pretty well solo, and his command ability that the model gets also allows him to add +1 to wound, and you can use this at the start of the hero phase. If you're playing in a Cities of Sigmar army that has a lot of command points available to you, even putting 2 on him to give him reroll 1s to hit to make that 4+ not quite so bad, and giving him +1 to wound, meaning most of his good attacks like the jaws and the claws go down to 2s to wound. So 4s rerolling then 2s is pretty nice if you can get all those buffs on him. There's other ways as well you can get pluses to hit in Cities of Sigmar pretty easy, or even if you're playing something along the lines of particular ones, you can also get pluses to wound as well, making some of those attacks really good, or meaning you're not having to spend the command points on his command ability. He's a pretty decent model though, that can fight by themselves, or he can buff around other Order Serpentis units around him like the Hydra, or more potently I tend to use him with the Drakespawn Knights. A unit of Drakespawn Knights working alongside this model in an army can mean the Drakespawn Knights go out, clear chaff, and allow him to get into the juicy target behind, and he will do a decent amount of damage if you've got the command points to spare on him. And the other half of the kit, we have the Sorceress on Black Dragon. Now, her main downside is that she only has a 5-up armor save, and there is no way to buff this. So for 300 points, she can be a little bit frail. However, she is a 14 wound wizard, and she does have the movement of 14 as well, meaning she can sort of stick around your backfield. She's also got some great abilities on her War Scroll. None is more important though than the Blood Sacrifice ability. This allows her to sacrifice a Darkling Coven's model around her and add +2 to her casting. This enables her to go around getting some bonuses to cast without needing to be near any other pieces to sort of buff her. She does have some cool command abilities as well, which really come into their own. Especially, it's really weird seeing, I guess, a wizard have command abilities like this. She can either give run and charge or run and shoot to Darkened Coven's unit around her, and she can also give reroll wound rolls of 1 to Darkened Coven's units around her as well. This can go pretty well on herself as well, as she can go into a fight, and while she's not going to be able to take out anything major, she can go wipe out chaff screens or other small heroes around the board with the dragon, doing some decent damage of averaging, around 8 to 12 wounds a turn, even if it does have force to hit. If you can get a command point or 2 in there on her, she will do the work you need her to do, which is a nice thing to have around your army for a wizard that doesn't cost an awful lot. 300 points is reasonable-ish. She's got an okay War Scroll spell, which is Blade Wind, where you roll 9 dice and you pick 1 enemy unit, and then each roll that is lower than that unit's save characteristic, you suffer a mortal wound on the unit. She really comes into her own though when you start putting her in some of the different cities where she gets access to better spells to really make use of that buff she can do to her own casting. She does have the Noxious Breath attack like the other dragon as well, where she can do some mortal wound output from that, so she can do a decent amount of mortal wounds in a turn if you get her right up into your opponent's face. Other than that, she's not really got all that much to talk about. She's a decent wizard, though she is maybe a little costly at some points. One last thing to mention about this model is you can also build it up as Drusa Kraith from Drusa Kraith's Battalion, which you can find the rules for in Broken Realms Marathi. This makes her a unique named character, meaning she can't take any command traits or artifacts, so that does hurt her a little bit. However, she does give you a free command point for doing so and taking her in this battalion, which can be useful if you need to get those few extra command points into your army. This is allowed to be taken in either Anvil Guard or Harkuron, so you've got that option there for this model as well. Well, thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so by coming and joining our Discord server, which you'll find a link to in the description of the video. While you're on YouTube as well, go check out my featured channel section, which contains a bunch of other fantastic Age of Sigmar content creators doing everything from battle reports, tactical videos, lore videos, painting tutorials, and more besides that. Lastly though, we'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel via Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you to James, AJC, JC, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Cowspawn, James Crowder, and Andrew Bowen. Thank you all so much for your support. And if you'd like to help support the channel like these fine people do, you can do so by clicking once again on the links down in the description of the video to either YouTube members or Patreon. Thank you all for supporting the channel though, watching the content. Have a nice day, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.